Please help me to reach 500 subscribers. Some nights stay with you forever, not because they were beautiful but because they shattered everything you thought was solid. This was one of those nights. I can trace the exact second my life split in two. The sharp crash of a champagne glass breaking near my heels. The music still played, but it faded into nothing as my pulse roared in my ears. A few hours earlier, I believed I had everything I'd ever wanted. By morning, I would be the one left behind, carrying a decision I still don't know whether I regret more than I despise myself for making. It was meant to be an easy evening. My closest friend, Emily, had insisted I come with her to a charity event downtown. Bring Lucas, she urged. You two barely leave the house anymore. She wasn't wrong. Lucas and I had been drowning in work, sharing the same space but barely sharing our lives. When he agreed to go, hope flickered in me. He even smiled as he buttoned his jacket, the same smile that once made me feel safe enough to fall asleep. At the gala we felt like us again. We joked, laughed, and for a brief, fragile moment, I believed we were finding our way back. Then Emily's colleague, someone I'd never met before, asked me to dance. Lucas was deep in conversation across the room, and I told myself it was innocent. Just a song. That changed the moment I caught Lucas watching. There was no jealousy in his expression, only distance. Cold, quiet distance that went straight through me. When I returned to the table, he said nothing. Not while we ate. Not in the car. Not even when we reached home. I should have touched his hand, explained myself, broken the silence. Instead, I let it grow heavier. Inside the apartment, Lucas went straight to the bedroom. I followed later, still wearing my dress, the earrings he'd given me the previous Christmas. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at me like I was a stranger. I've been trying to reach you for months, he said softly. And tonight you're dancing with someone else. I panicked. It was one dance, I said. You know that's not the issue. That's exactly the issue, he replied, standing. It's never just about one moment. It's about everything we stopped caring about in between. I don't know what pushed me to say it, anger, alcohol, or the sting of feeling judged, but the words came out anyway. If you already think I'm not enough, then why are you still here? The second they left my mouth, I wanted them back. Lucas looked at me for a long moment, then opened the closet, pulled out a small suitcase and began packing. I followed him, apologizing, pleading, telling him I didn't mean it. He never turned around. You left a long time ago, he said quietly. Tonight just made it obvious. He walked out without raising his voice or slamming the door. Somehow that hurt more than anything else. That should have been the end of the night. It wasn't. I sat alone on the couch for what felt like forever, replaying every second, hating myself for pushing him away. Then my phone vibrated. An unknown number. You looked amazing tonight. Too bad he left early. My stomach dropped. A photo followed, me on the dance floor with Emily's co-worker. His hand rested lower on my back than I remembered. My smile looked too easy, too familiar. Another message appeared before I could respond. If you ever want to see how a real man treats you, followed by an address. I should have erased it. Blocked the number. Instead, I stared at the screen, thinking about how Lucas had walked away without fighting. Resentment mixed with guilt until I couldn't tell them apart. By 1 a.m, I was in a cab. I told myself I was proving something, that I wasn't the only one responsible for the cracks in my life. But the moment the door opened and he pulled me inside, every excuse disappeared. There was nothing tender about it. No romance. Just a haze of regret. And through it all, a voice in my head begged me to stop, to leave, to go home. I didn't listen. I left before dawn, my dress creased, my makeup smeared. Part of me hoped Lucas would be back, that I could confess everything and beg him to stay. But the apartment was silent. On the kitchen counter sat a single note. I came back for you. You weren't here. My legs gave out. He had returned. And I had failed him again. I tried for weeks to reach him. He never answered. Emily later told me he'd moved to another city. Months after that, someone sent me a picture. Lucas smiling, his arm around someone new. She looked at him the way I once had. I don't resent him for moving on. I resent myself for losing him in a single night I'll never forget and never forgive. Sometimes I imagine what would have happened if I'd just gone to sleep. If I'd waited. If I'd trusted that he might come back and talk. But imagining doesn't change the truth. I ended us. That's the cruelest part, not that he left, but that I gave him every reason to. Some people watch love fade over years. Others destroy it in a matter of hours. One choice. One night. And sometimes, living with that choice is the punishment that never ends. Please help me to reach 500 subscribers.